I truly believe that Chris Brown's mother offered him up as a sacrifice, as child sacrifice to the demonic powers of the entertainment industry. Guys, you're going to have to follow me on this journey, okay? Because I've already introduced two wild concepts in this statement. First of all, child sacrifice, something that most people would believe is a thing of old or of myths and whatever, yeah? I want to just suggest, first of all, that sometimes we use these terms, we assume these terms in these extremes that leads us to not see smaller forms of the same thing. Or just different forms of the same thing, I should even say, okay? So let's start with that thinking. And so, because this isn't something I believe is just true of Chris Brown, I believe this is true of a lot of people in Hollywood. The second thing that's crazy that I've said is the fact that it's his mother. So people are like, what? That will never happen. A mother's love cannot be compared. Okay. Let's just agree, first of all, that isn't always the case for everybody, that they grew up in a situation with a truly loving mother. So that's with those things in mind. We're going to get into this, okay? And before we do, if you enjoyed this video, guys, don't forget to subscribe. If you're enjoying it already, trust me, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, stop wasting time and hit subscribe, okay? And let's get into the video. So I have been thinking, and I've thought about this for a very long time. When I say a very long time, probably at least 15 years, I've sat on this and I've not really spoken about it, but I've thought about it at different points and I've had just these crazy experiences. But anyway, I know that parents, when it comes to the entertainment industry, when it comes to sacrificing a child, right, that sacrificing with a lot of these rituals that people do isn't killing necessarily. Sometimes it's other things that can be sacrificed, like time. So the sacrifice is that you don't get to decide what you do with your time. Your time is being decided for you. You're a sacrifice, right? You've been sacrificed. Like Britney Spears is a good example of a child sacrifice, if you ask me, because it's like, we're going to offer you up as a child to be a sacrifice. You're going to become whatever we want you to become, to do whatever we are trying to achieve. That's evil. Right? So your life is not your own. God gave us all our own life. That's why I didn't even like this stuff with Britney Spears. I don't like a lot of this stuff people do in the entertainment industry, is talking about how these people should and shouldn't be spending their money. Because I'm like, well, they earned it. So they earned it. I don't care if they're making X amount of money. They earned it. They made that money themselves, right? So the same free will you get to spend your money with is the same free will they should have to spend their money. That's how I look at it. If they spend all of it and they end up at zero, that's on them. And that's what also makes me think that a lot of these people who are, obviously, that's why the loving mother disguise is like the best one, because obviously if you're trying to do anything that's seemingly helpful to your child, that's going to help them, to prevent them from regrets, of course that is necessary. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm a big believer in that. That's why I'm deciphering between the types of mother. There's plenty of people who've actually survived. People who survived the entertainment industry a lot of times had great mothers. Great mothers. So they did not, like, perfect example of that is Tia and Tamara, because those two, their mother and their father, were like, kept them very grounded while they were in the entertainment industry, and they lived normal lives. Their parents made a point that when you're not on set, you're living a normal life. We're on set, we're there, we're going to be there, and we're going to be on site. And a lot of mothers have actually taken their kids away from the entertainment industry because of taking them to these auditions and seeing what these children have been told to do and saying, we're not doing that. You are not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that in this house, not in this family. Hate me forever. Trust me, you'll love me in about 20 years, 30 years. And lo and behold. So with Chris Brown, I honestly believe, like, when I look at him as a person, and I look at everybody as people, I don't look at people as like, I don't know. I don't look at somebody differently because they live a different lifestyle to mine or their life looks different or whatever. And I also I'm not like taken away by fame and power and money. Like, that doesn't like, whoa. Like, that's why when people even try to say, oh, like, women just like Chris Brown because he's good looking. okay, there's loads of good looking people. Wow, so cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's less important things. That's just not even important. I look at somebody like Chris Brown as a human being. He looks to me like a man who is going through a spiritual battle between who he wants to be and who he's being told he has to be. And what we're seeing is the results we see from him is the results of that. And the fact that he's in it. Because if you've noticed, one thing about Chris Brown in the entertainment industry is he's virtually uncancelable. And the reason for that is this. He is way too valuable to the entertainment industry. He is way too valuable to allow for him to be ever seen completely negatively in the public eye. He just makes way too much money for them. He is just exactly what helps the cogs turning in Hollyweird. Because I'm looking at this from this perspective as somebody who's from a choreography's perspective, as a choreographer, right? As a choreographer, Chris Brown makes the best music to choreograph to, because it's always to do with whatever's happening now. It's very good for dancing. That's why if you watch a lot of these dance videos, they love Chris Brown's music. I truly believe the part of the dance industry, Chris Brown's power and why they keep him is because of his chokehold on the dance industry. Because choreographers are dancing to Chris Brown, the best choreographers that end up being, choreographing for all these other folks in the entertainment industry. I would know. Because, it's an industry that I worked in, and I very much wanted to be in that type of level until I realized exactly what was going on. I was like, I'm not being a part of this. Right? I'm not being a part of the, just debauchery, to be quite honest. And so then I look at his mum, and I look at how, it's always these mums and these people who just are not really known very much about. They're in plain sight. They hide in plain sight. And there's so many things that have happened to Chris Brown that show to me that I don't think she's protecting her son. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I don't think she's loving her son, because if she was, or if he was being loved, I don't think he would be by his mum the way that he should be. I don't think he would be on the path that he's on. This is nuts for me to say in a video, but we're here and we're saying it. Which leads me to believe that she, and I wish I could remember which story it was that I was reading. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Viola Davis. I've actually been reading books now. I love that for me. Because I read, I don't know if it's the Viola Davis's book, or I read some book anyway of another celebrity talking about how, their mum, right, and we're talking black women here, by the way, would be meeting with these Hollyweird execs, right, the executives, directors and people. And they would be giving up their children for these people to do really sick and twisted stuff with them. Like people that we know, like famous, like celebrities. They would, as children, were given up to these Hollywood executives by their own mothers to have these crazy, heinous crimes happen to them. And I just find it fascinating that when we're hearing all these stories of, this is why I had to give my disclaimer in the beginning, because I know this is a sore subject, right? When we talk about a lot of these child stars and how they got taken advantage of with people in the industry, I don't like this. I'm being sarcastic. I like how we have made it normalized that we don't question if there was anybody else that should be responsible for why this shouldn't have happened to this child, other than the entertainment industry. And the entertainment industry doesn't mind taking flack, because they've got so much money and power. And the people that you're really upset are inaccessible to most people and unknown. They hide so we can never get to them, right? So they can take the heat, they can take the flack, they can get you to sign a non-disclosure agreement, they can pay you money to shut up, to settle the case, whatever. They're not really worried about this stuff. So when it comes to the parents ultimately, I believe when God gives us children, it's a responsibility. He's like, I'm entrusting you with this great gift. This is a great gift. You know what I'm saying? This thing the Bible says that children are a gift. It does say children are a gift, I believe, yeah. Or a blessing. I think it's a gift, right? And God is entrusting you with this. Like, he's entrusting you. That's how I look at it. Like, so this thing that you have been given, like, it's not like, there's a reason we don't leave babies. Like, we don't get born and then get just left out there in the woods for people to figure out, for us to figure everything out, and then one day we become functioning adults. People had to put in some kind of effort or something for us to get to where we are today, because we couldn't feed ourselves, we couldn't change ourselves, we didn't know how to walk, we didn't know how to talk, we didn't know how to do a lot of things, and we don't know what's good for us. I've told this story many times on here of children and their need for, you know, people that are looking after them, and how I was looking after a kid, not even 2 years old, right? We went to the river, we were talking about the ducks, and, you know, having some snacks by the river. It was very wholesome, right, during the summer. And this kid would be running full speed ahead. He would run full speed ahead directly into the river. I'm like, my friend, this is not going to work out for you. And I literally talk to him like that. You can't just run into the river. I know you're doing swimming lessons. We're not here now. And this is like, for goodness sake. And you know what? That's why, because imagine if I wasn't there. That's exactly what I'm saying here. It's like Chris Brown is almost like, in a lot of senses, like a kid that's just running into the river, and like no one's stopping him because people are profiting off of him being in the river, and we're all just not really thinking about who should have been making sure that he wasn't running into the river in the first place. And, you know, I've followed from his story, and obviously his issues, you know, with his biological father, and then his mum got remarried and she's with another man now, I think. And now is he the one, because one of the fathers that he had beat up his mother, right? And so, you know, it's just, there's just a lot that's going on there. And so his mother, at this opportunity, she's realized her son is, you know, talented, this, that, and the other. Now we come into this very ugly place, potentially ugly place called the entertainment industry. I believe you can survive the entertainment industry. You can survive the entertainment industry without this stuff affecting you. It is possible, because they only do what they can get away with. People only do what they can get away with at the end of the day. So if you're there as a parent, standing there and doing something to say they're not doing that, they're not doing this, blah, 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 because kids don't know any better. Kids will agree to everything, especially if means they're going to be on TV, especially if it means that they're going to be famous. This is all they could have dreamed of. They don't know any better at this point. This is what I'm trying to say. They don't know any better. So it's our job, you know, as adults, all of us adults. So when I see this stuff and when I think about it, and there's even been people who have spoken about her giving him up as a child sacrifice, I do believe she sacrificed him. I do. I believe that there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry whose families really enjoyed the spoils of the toils of their child star. And they were willing to turn a blind eye and to do whatever pretending they needed to do in order to have that. That is sacrificing. You're sacrificing your child's sanity. You're sacrificing your child's life. You're sacrificing your child's, because how many times has Chris Brown been near death, nearly died? I thought he was going to die, by the way. When I was about 11, how old was I? About 15, 14. I had this strong inclination that this man is, I actually said it at the time. I was like, this guy's going to have a kid or he's going to die. And lo and behold, he actually had a child. I literally called it, like, from when I was a teenager. I literally said, I was like, I remember saying this in school because me and my friend were talking about it randomly. And I randomly said, Chris Brown is going to die or he's going to have a child. He's going to die or he's going to have a child. Lo and behold, he has a baby, right? He has a baby and it helps, you know, him in life, right? And this is what is the result, guys. This is what happens. Like, when I look at a lot of these Hollywood stars and all this stuff, this is sacrifice. This is sacrifice. You're sacrificing your child because you know they don't know better. The only person in the room that knows better is you. And you are the one who is giving up your child, who is exposing your child and allowing your child to go through these things for your own selfish gain. That is a sacrifice. How is that any different to, you know, slitting somebody's throat and draining all their blood to give up to the gods so that the gods will bring you wheat this next harvest? How is that any different? You're sacrificing a life for your own selfish personal gain, and it is costing the person being sacrificed. They're having to go through things they shouldn't have to go through. And child sacrifice, by the way, is a very big, important part of the kingdom of darkness. This is what this is why I believe that, Satan has worked so hard to get us not to really believe in this stuff or talk about this kind of thing. This is why I'm talking about it, because I don't like to talk about Chris Brown, because the world is so shunned and so blinded by the idea that every single time a woman talks about a man who's seemingly handsome or desirable to a large population of women, that, oh, you're just talking about this because you're in love with so-and-so. People say that all the time to me about people that I talk about. I'm like, that's really funny, because no. Because no. I'm telling you the truth, because I'm trying to say what people are not prepared to hear, because I see what the kingdom of darkness is doing. Is child sacrifice. It is child sacrifice. You are sacrificing. Kris Jenner did the same thing. Kris freaking Jenner, I talk about her all the time. She's sacrificing her kids. She sacrificed Kim Kardashian. Oh, Kim Kardashian does a sex tape. She executive producer and director. I don't know if that's her official terms, but that's what I'm calling her, because that's what she did. She directed and she executive produced. You know why? Because she's the one telling Kim to do it again. She's the one who's got contracts and everything drawn up, leaking. She's the one who's on the phone with TMZ. How many people call TMZ on purpose in the entertainment industry? They hate TMZ because TMZ is always saying stuff that's not helpful. Well, somebody's giving them something. And Britney Spears' dad did the same thing, calling TMZ, because then we fall for whatever's being said. And we believe whatever story that we are being told. Kris Jenner sacrificed her daughter. She did. She sacrificed her daughter. So how on earth is Kim Kardashian going to see that when somebody like Kanye West tells her to put clothes on her body because she should value herself, how is she going to see that when all that she has been programmed with is this? This is what she does. This is what we do. Their whole show and everything of it, Keeping Up with Kardashians and whatever it's called now, I don't know what it's called now, right? I remember the Kardashians because I watched at the very, very beginning, like before they had all the work done, before they were who they are now, when they were just like normal people. I watched Keeping Up with Kardashians, and it was actually an entertaining show at the time. And then as time has gone on, it is literally a play. It's just as good. It's called reality TV, and it has society on a chokehold because people really be commenting on the family, and they have these, like, when I see scenes of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I can so envision, like, from a production perspective, of like produced for stuff before, like, shows and stuff. I say shows like I've done loads, not that many. Okay, guys, let's not get crazy, right? It looks like a production. Like, you had your scene of where things was going to be, where we were going to be sitting, and there was a topic that was going to come up that we know is going to get clipped and put into Instagram Reels and put into YouTube Shorts and put onto TikTok to get people talking, to get, like, this is why they love bringing up Kanye West in the show. They're always bringing up Kanye West when there's nothing going on between Kim and Kanye. They're always, poking the bear, as it were. Always poking the bear, because they need that, because that is what the sacrifice is. The sacrifice is, this is just a facade. This is a show. This is what you do. We make money because you are the thing. You are the product. I saw today there was like a picture that came up on YouTube that somebody had posted, I think on their community page, and it was like, this was at one point the most liked picture on Instagram, and it's a picture of Kendall Jenner with her hair like in a pattern on the floor. And I was just like, what on earth is this that we're doing here? So when I'm throwing out these ideas, guys, I'm really actually trying to just shed light to things that maybe we should be thinking about, like we should actually be questioning and actually, saying, is there something that I need to really stop to consider here? Like, is there something I'm missing? Because it might be something that we're missing in and why these things are happening. And it is child sacrifice. We do not call it that because the English language is horrific, and therefore it makes a lot of things. It's very manipulative language, because the way that it comes across and the connotations and our understanding, especially the way that things are taught and the way that society is set up, it always puts certain things, it makes them sound so extreme that it just like doesn't exist in the time that we exist in. But if you look at what it actually means, it's not as violent as it looks in our eyes, in our minds when we're envisioning it. That's the truth of it. That is the truth. And I truly believe that I don't know what is on Chris Brown's life. There is some kind of like a curse almost. Like I would call it like a curse. And he would actually really have to get God to break the curse. Like he's not going to get out of the curse by himself. No one can in the entertainment industry. When you have given up a sacrifice to Satan, the only way you come out of that sacrifice is by outranking the sacrifice from before, which is the blood of Jesus. It's the only one that outranks all the others, all sacrifices and all of anything that the kingdom of darkness can try to hold against us. Right? That's why I'm a big person who pushes on this. Selling your soul to the devil is not a real thing, because the devil can't afford your soul. But you can enter into agreement of which God will stand there and say, hey, you signed up for this. Even in the Bible. Do you know that in the Bible there's a part where God is telling, I think he's talking to the people of God anyway. And he's explaining to them that as part of like, where he's going with them, he needs them to tell him and to declare with their mouths, and not necessarily with their mouths. Let's not say that, because I don't believe it says with their mouths. So they need to basically come against and come out of agreement with agreements that were made in generations before them, in their ancestry. As in their ancestors made agreements that the generations that come afterwards are being affected by. We see this in all society today. Where people are living through. This is why people have these things that go on in families, where families will all have the same exact like trait that goes down through the family, like the same exact disease, the same exact, like all of the firstborn sons, they always die from a car crash. Like these weird things that happen in families that people can't get out of. Poverty is another one. Right? These things that are handed down in generations that just keep repeating, right? Because somebody made an agreement, and God is telling the people of God that you guys, I know where you want to go now. What you don't realize is that there are agreements on your life they don't even know about that are affecting you. So I need you to get rid of that before you can really enjoy me, because I'm not going to impose myself somewhere where you've made an agreement. Or an agreement has been made. It's a contract. I have a whole playlist about contracts on my YouTube channel. It's called, you guys should check it out, the contract playlist. It's very good. And in there I talk about sin being a contract and how our actions are just contracts. You know what I'm saying? We're just being held to what was the agreements. This is why I said that this whole 1 billion year contract from Scientology is incredibly intelligent on L. Ron Hubbard, because he knew that as humans, we don't believe in that stuff now. So people don't think it's a big deal when they're signing a billion-year contract. But let me tell you something. Those kids and the kids of the kids and the people moving away from these things are going to feel the effects in their real life of those contracts. That is going to happen. That is why you cannot just step out of something and think that you just... That's why when a lot of people step away from like the entertainment industry and stuff, they step away, but then they end up what? First of all, it's cancelled. Then it's like on drugs, some kind of intoxication or whatever. Those two come hand in hand, right? A lot of the time. Then they have some kind of psychiatric diagnoses where they're crazy, or they're going through this, or they're going through that. And then if they can, lock them up in a psychiatric unit somewhere, put them on as many drugs as possible, restrict everything that they can do. Or if you're more valuable, if it's the entertainment industry, as soon as you become more valuable dead than alive, which does happen, that's why a lot of people who are dead, shout out to Amy Winehouse and other people, now that they're dead, like I saw there was an Amy Winehouse TikTok account, and I was like, this is the weirdest stuff. But of course, because her music was so popular and timeless to a lot of people, that she was more worth it at a certain point, dead than alive. As they can control her music, somebody's controlling something. Let's not even start to talk about the likes of people like Michael Jackson. Let's if that, do you know what I'm saying? Let's like really think about it or what's going on here. A sacrifice was made in order for some kind of exchange, some kind of benefit. A sacrifice had to be made. That's how it works. That's why Jesus had to die on the cross. Because the sacrifice had to be made for the decisions of man. That's why these evil people sacrifice people in actually killing them and stuff, because they need the life force, which is in our blood. The Bible even says about our blood being our life force, which is scientifically is exactly true, because where do we house our oxygen? Where is it running through all of our bodies right now? All by itself, very well running system in our blood, the oxygen. You can lose oxygen for a very short period of time to your brain and become completely brain dead. Your brain can't handle very long without oxygen. Oh yeah. And so even your body can come back to life. That happens to people sometimes with things like drowning and stuff, where they can come back to life, but their brain never comes back alive again. Their brain never comes back alive again because of, the lacking of oxygen. So the blood is the life force. So that's why when we do all this stuff, I've already talked about this before as well, blood being the currency of the spiritual realm. There's also a video that you guys should check out. I don't know if it's in any playlist. It's a good video, and I delve into this on a deeper level. So sacrifices must be made in order to gain things, because we live in an exchange system, an exchange. For this, I get that. Just like how you work and you get paid. You exchange your time and your work for money. And then you exchange your money for other things that you want, like food, where you live, to pay your bills, to buy the things that you need in life. It's an exchange. It's the same thing. That's exactly what these people are doing. And when it's the kingdom of darkness, because it's the kingdom of darkness, the things that have to be sacrificed, the sacrifice is always something weird, sick, twisted, heinous, disgusting, evil, and wicked. Because it has to be. Because the more wicked it is, it's kind of like the more it adds value. Just like how the more godly something is, the greater its value. The more wicked something is in the kingdom of darkness, the more value you're going to get from it. That's why they do these sick, weird, twisted things of killing kids and all sorts of things in these underground tunnels and doing all the stuff that they're doing. They have to do these heinous things. They can't just... That's why these Hollyweird parties are weird. Because you think that they can just be living wholesome, normal lives and then, just thriving as a godly person would. Oh no, darling. They have to match their art form, their work with the master. They have to walk in line with the kingdom that they're a part of. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I do believe he's been sacrificed. I believe he's been sacrificed, and I believe that he can't get out of it. And I believe that he is just an example of a lot of people who go through that struggle. The funny thing with Chris Brown, why he's a bit of an anomaly in the situation, is that he is more valuable alive because he's still adding value. Notice how his opinion, as far as a lot of people, is divided. A lot of people still don't like Chris Brown, but that's not stopping the entertainment industry from utilizing him, is it? No, it isn't, because it's good for business, because he is somebody that they can make good money from. And so it's almost even more difficult because they really don't want you to leave. And that's a problem. That is a problem for if you're in the kingdom of darkness and you want to leave. So same thing happened with Britney Spears. And they're seeing that, hey, we haven't even got to the pinnacle of what we think we can do here with you in our kingdom. So we're going to do everything to enslave you. We're going to do everything to enslave you. But when does this all start for all of these people? When they're children, because they're given as a sacrifice. There is an exchange. Not all things have to be said in plain English to be done. Because we all know it in life when we exchange something for something evil or for something good. We know what we're doing. We know when we're turning a blind eye. We know when we're doing certain things. We know when we have responsibilities that things we should be doing, like not selling your daughter's body online, Kris Jenner. But we do them. We do them. We know exactly what we're doing. We don't have to stand before the devil in the gates of hell, in the boardroom of hell, discussing with Satan exactly what we're doing. We just do it with our actions. So that's my theory. It's just a theory. Well, I really strongly believe in this. I'm not going to lie to you. I believe Chris Brown, the reason why he's an interesting one to talk about is because he's still in a stage where he is so valuable to them that they're not going to kill him. And I don't see them putting him themselves on any type of medications or whatever, because they're not going to, because everything that he does because he creates it himself. It's his natural talent. So they have to let the natural talent be, because they can't create that for themselves. They can't create Chris Brown. They can't mimic him. And so they need him in the state and form that he's in. And the state he's in is perfect for them. As long as he's showing up, creating the artwork, doing what they want him to do, great. Everything else, don't care. And everything else, probably they can spin it in a way that helps them. If he's in a good phase of his life, makes him look good to the world, they gain people following him. If it's destroying him, he's less likely to be getting out of this thing. And they can just exploit that. They can just exploit, and that's what they do. That is exactly what they do. And that's why, I really think with these kids, I'm so sorry to say it, I'm not. A lot of them are sacrificed. There is no ifs, buts, maybes about it. It is what it is. Like, some things are just in front of your face, and it's like you're either just going to accept the truth when you hear it, or you just don't want to hear the truth. That's all I'm saying. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and of course like the video, because I'd really appreciate that if you like the video and if you subscribe. And join the winning team, because if life's a game, let's play to win. Thank you guys so much for watching this. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.